Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on Sam's Crafty Castle, and today we are doing our June challenge video. So here is the challenge website that I picked, and this one called to me, spoke to me, whatever you want to say, because it is specifically a challenge that asks you to use embossing folders. It is the whole theme of this challenge blog, and I'll have it linked down in the description below. But they are an anything goes challenge that you have to use an embossing folder, and then there's always some kind of optional twist. In this case, it was butterflies. So I was already intrigued when I was scrolling through the Paper Playful list of challenges and saw the embossing folder thing, and was like, I don't play with my embossing folders enough. And then I knew I had this Better Press plate that was the very first subscription when I got all the way back, well, technically the second one, that I got all the way back in January, and I still hadn't used it. And I was like, well, this would be a really good reason to use that. I haven't used my Better Press in a while. So everything just kind of fell into place with this one, with things I'd kind of been wanting to get out and play with and all that kind of stuff. This is the blooper that I left in because I put my Better Press together backwards, which just proves that it's been a while since I've used it. But for some reason I taped the paper to the magnet part instead of to the plastic part, which I think my brain just wasn't working. I'm sure we've all had those days where our brain just doesn't want to get with the program and do what we want to do, and that's kind of the day I was having when I was filming this video. I also just wanted to mention something that I do on occasion. It happened a little while ago, video-wise, but sometimes I had pulled out this Better Press plate, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do with it, and all of a sudden kind of had the memory that wait, you can hot foil with Better Press plates too, and I haven't tried that yet. So I almost tried that for this video, but I wasn't really sure if I was feeling that, and it would have meant getting out my whole Gemini and everything, because I have the Gemini foil press, not the Glimmer machine, which works with my Gemini, and I just put that whole thing away. I put it in my little retirement community, if you will, and I wasn't really itching to get it back out and whatever, but I was also now kind of in this hot foil brain thought. So I ended up going to, sometimes when I get stuck like that and I just don't know what to do, I will go online and I will type in random chooser, and a website pops up on Google, and then I just type in the decision I'm trying to make, which in this case was Better Press or hot foil. And so I just typed in foil, and I typed in Better Press, and then I hit randomize, and it said Better Press, and I was like, cool, that's what we're doing. Because one of two things will happen when you do that. Either you'll get the answer that you secretly don't want, and you'll know that you don't want it. So if I'd gotten Better Press, but then was kind of disappointed by it, and I would have realized, oh, I really want to do foil. Same thing could have happened the other direction. And sometimes you really just don't care, which is the case in this case, and Better Press came up, and I was like, cool, fine. But I do that a lot, because sometimes, I don't know about you all, but for me, my craft room sometimes gets very overwhelming, and there's a lot of fun toys in there, and I want to play with all the toys sometimes, and it's a really nice way to, if you have a bunch of stuff that you kind of want to play with and you're not quite sure what direction you want to go in, there's another way that you can do that. You can just type in all your options for the day and then see what comes up, and then that's what you do. If you're like me and don't like making decisions, I do not like making decisions. It's not my favorite thing to do. But yeah, so I did the two butterflies through my Better Press. This isn't really about doing the Better Press, so I kind of just glossed over it. This is a challenge and inspiration video, so that didn't really go through the whole Better Press process, but I realized I do want to talk about a little something here, because I did do some experimenting. So the first one I did with the black butterflies was the Gina K Obsidian ink, and then it's the cotton Better Press paper from Spellbinders that I got with my machine. And then I realized that I forgot to do my greeting with the butterflies, which I had intended to do, and I forgot. So I had to do another panel, and I was going to just use the cotton paper, because they have plenty. They send you a big pack of it when you, or a decent pack of it, I should say, with your machine. That'll last you a while, unless you're like doing a whole lot of better press stuff. But I really wanted to try just like my regular sort of standard white cardstock. Now, I have 2 standard heavyweight white cardstocks that I use, and that is the SET heavyweight and the Gina K Designs heavyweight. The SET heavyweight I use just because it comes in my crop and create boxes and I always have a ton left over, and the Gina K Designs heavyweight I use just because it is my actual favorite like white cardstock. So I am not 100% sure what I used, and that's the one that had the purple butterfly and the grading on it. But I wanted to try it and see how it worked with the butter press, because I had heard that paper can sometimes make a big difference with the butter press, and I thought it worked just fine. So I feel like there's a lot more freedom and I guess options and things with the butter press that I'm discovering and learning, and a lot more than when it first came out. It seemed very much like you had to use a Spellbinders paper and you had to use the Spellbinders ink, and I'm getting just fine results using all their stuff that I just have around. So don't let that scare you off if you're like me and that's something that's sort of scaring you off of it. So I had also read that the spreader press cotton paper is very nice for watercoloring, so I just decided to get out my watercolors and, well, not really my watercolors, I got out my ink pads and I got out a brush and decided to watercolor these little butterflies because I was trying to decide how I wanted to color them. And I am in the process of, I don't know exactly how many days away we are because I haven't really been counting, but we're getting very, very close to September. It's already the end of June by the time you're watching this. It's actually my birthday weekend when you're watching this. And I have to go and do Crop and Create September. It's coming quickly. That's what I'm trying to get at. So I'm trying to get through all of my old classes. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm working really hard at it. I've been doing about 1 a week. So hopefully maybe we can get all caught up by the time September rolls around. I just did one of the harder ones this past week from when I'm filming. This was a couple weeks before you will actually watch this. And we did this. It was a Spellbinders class, and they sent us a 3D embossing folder, and they had us do this kind of cool watercolor background thing with it. And the brush I used to do the watercolor background is older. It's not like in the best shape these days. But I think the background came out really cool. And after I did it, I was like, wow, I should really do this in a video because I think this is really cool. And ended up being this video was going to work perfect for it because we had the embossing folder challenge, and then was actually going to go with a butterfly embossing folder too, but ended up changing my mind and ended up going with a floral one. But basically that is why I chose to do watercolors on this card, is just because I was going to do this watercolor background thing, and I'm tell you what I did in class and what I did differently in this video, and what worked and what didn't, because I did try something a little bit different when I did it for the video. So I don't do anything crazy with my watercoloring. It's just one color straight through. At first when I was working on this, I wasn't loving the color green I use, which is the Gina K Designs light spruce green, and then the butterfly is medium orchid. And I was wishing I picked a little more vibrant green. I was wishing I had gone Lucky Clover, because I did think about that and then just decided not to. And I wish I would have done the Lucky Clover, and I actually use that for the background in a little bit here. But honestly, the light spruce works. It's grown on me in editing the photos and editing this video and looking at the card a little bit more. The light spruce color has grown on me, and I actually think I do kind of like it. The pink really pops out, and then the lighter green is kind of a nice complement to that. So I also wanted to share really quick, since we're kind of on the topic of watercoloring, I have said before a lot of times that I am not a big watercolor fan. But here's something I've learned, and this is why I kind of encourage y'all to try different things and find what works for you. I have discovered that it's not so much that I am not a watercolor person. It is that I am not a detailed watercolor person. If I'm going to detail color something, I'm going to use my markers or my pencils. Just because I feel like I have a little more control, I think, with those things, and I'm just better with them. And that may be something that if I keep working on this with time, it'll come. But the other thing I've realized is I just don't think I'm a watercolor paint/pan type person. I really do enjoy watercoloring with markers, like starting with a water-based marker and doing things that way. I've gotten really, really comfortable with watercoloring with my inks like this. I shouldn't say I've gotten, because I haven't actually tried them yet, but I bought the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, and I bought the Jen Shirkus has Distress Watercolor pencil classes, which I've bought but haven't done yet because I'm trying to get through these SCT classes. So I haven't really played much with those yet, although I want to. And this is, I think, like, the pens and the markers and the inks like this are just easier to do color matching with, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't think that's the correct word. But if I want the color darker, I can just add more ink to my palette. If I'm using the actual watercolor pans and stuff, like, sometimes it just gets too light or whatever, and it's hard to come back from that. Not impossible, but it's harder. And this just gives me the colors I want a little bit more easily, and if I run out of a color, it's a little bit easier to get it back than trying to, like, specifically shade match, like, a watercolor situation. Now this is the background that I was talking about earlier. So this brush is just, like, getting kind of old. The bristles are a little bit separated. I tried to show the camera. I don't think it showed up very well. And I am just going through and basically doing a basic watercolor wash over it. But because the bristles on this brush are a little bit wonky, it gives me kind of a cool brush stroke look that I really liked. And I liked how I ended up kind of getting the lighter color in the center. One thing I did different is I did do this one on watercolor paper. The one I did for class, I did on just regular heavy paper, heavy white cardstock. And I think that comes back to haunt me in a minute here after I run this through the embossing folder. But it did give it kind of a cool texture. I did both sides too because I technically did the one backwards for class, and I wanted the option of being able to use the emboss side or the deboss side. So I did both sides, and then I could, figure it out and see which side I liked better. And I ended up deciding I liked the emboss side on this one. Now, this didn't emboss super well for me. It did okay. It did fine. It works. It's all good. I'm happy with it. But I feel like it could have embossed a little deeper. And I think part of that was just the watercolor paper. Because I think just, like, the texture and stuff from the watercolor paper can kind of get in the way a little bit. And the other thing, too, is I think like I said, I have a lot of embossing folders. I don't use them as often as I should, and I think that I just need to figure them out with my intercut a little bit yet. So we're still trying to figure that out. We're still learning, and every embossing folder is a little different, so, like, there's that part of it too. And I should really, like, maybe I don't know, because who has time for this really, but at some point I should really, like, just play with all my embossing folders and see what my intercut likes, and then note what settings work best for each folder. So now we're at the end, and I'm just gluing the card all together. I just trimmed everything down regular with a paper trimmer. I thought about doing, like, a stitch die or something, but it's as detailed enough already that I was like, nah, it doesn't need it. It doesn't need it. It's fine with the embossing, and I'm just laying out all my little butterflies. And I put the greeting down there on purpose because I had a little boo-boo there with the Better Press where I had the tape and my better press plate kind of overlapped. But that is the video today. That is this month's challenge, and that's all I have. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'll see you again soon, and have a crafty day.